Rome's fountains are not just decoration. Each one has stories, rivalries, and even secret messages behind them. I'm Francesca from Crown Tours, and in this video I'm going to show you 4 of Rome's most famous fountains: the Trevi Fountain, the Fountain of the Four Rivers, the Barcaccia, and the Quattro Fontane. Rome is filled with fountains. There are more than 1,500 of them. But in this video we'll focus on 4 of the most iconic ones, all right in the historic center. They're within walking distance of landmarks you probably plan to visit, like the Colosseum, the Pantheon, Piazza di Spagna, and Piazza Navona. You'll see how each one is themed differently, and together they reveal something bigger about Rome's history. And if you stay until the very end, I'll show you a hidden architectural illusion that only reveals itself if you stand in the right place. Before we start, if you like art, history, and traveling, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss our next videos. Let's start where most journeys do, by tossing a coin in the Trevi Fountain. You can hear the water roaring from the streets behind. That's how massive the Trevi Fountain is. So who actually built it? In 1629, Pope Urban VIII asked Gian Lorenzo Bernini to design a fountain here. He even cleared some space, but papal wars drained the money and the project stopped. A century later, a new contest was held and Nicola Salvi's design won. Salvi died before it was finished, but in 1762, the Trevi Fountain finally came to life. At the center, there's Oceanus, a titan from Greek mythology, the personification of all the world's waters, riding a shell-shaped chariot pulled by 2 seahorses. One is calm and the other one is wild. Together they show the dual moods of the sea, calm and dangerous. On either side stand allegorical figures: abundance with her cornucopia spilling fruit, symbolizing prosperity, and health with her serpent staff representing the healing power of water. Above them are bas reliefs. One shows Marcus Vipsanius Agrippa, general and right-hand man to Emperor Augustus, ordering the construction of the Aqua Virgo aqueduct in 19 BC. The other depicts the legendary Virgin Maiden who showed Roman soldiers the spring. That aqueduct still feeds the Trevi today, more than 2,000 years after it was built. Now I will tell you a tiny detail most people miss. The Baroque period in Rome was all about drama, movements, and hidden messages in architecture and fountains, and even in Baroque Rome, art came with a sense of humor. On the right hand of the Trevi, there's a stubby vase called the Asso di Coppe, or Ace of Cups. Legend says that Salvi had it carved to block his view of a barber shop he despised. And now, the most famous tradition here. Every day, thousands of visitors throw a coin in the Trevi Fountain. You know the tradition: 1 coin for a wish to return to Rome, 2 coins for love, and 3 coins for marriage. This is why people still say 3 coins in the Trevi Fountain, made famous by the 1954 movie of the same name. Around 3,000 euros land here every single day, which they get collected by a Catholic charity and donated to food programs. So your wish might not only bring you back, it also helps people in need. The Trevi Fountain celebrates abundance, but what happens when abundance shifts into rivalry? For that, we walk to Piazza Navona. Piazza Navona looks like a giant open-air theatre. It was once a stadium of the mission, built in the 1st century. By the 1600s, it had transformed into a showcase for Baroque art. In 1648, Pope Innocent X wanted a new fountain. His favorite architect was Borromini. But Bernini couldn't handle losing, so he sent the Pope a silver model of his design, glittering in the candlelight. The Pope was dazzled, and just like that, the project went to Bernini. At the base of the fountain are 4 allegorical river gods, each representing a continent. The Nile has his face covered because its source was unknown, representing Africa. The Ganges holding an oar to show navigability, representing Asia. The Danube is touching the papal coat of arms, representing Europe. The Rio de la Plata, coins spilling at his side, symbolizing New World wealth, represents America. Above them sits a real ancient obelisk recycled from the circus of Maxentius. By placing it here, Pope Innocent X was saying, Rome unites all continents, all rivers, all power. In other words, all roads and all waters lead to Rome. Do you remember the competition between Bernini and Borromini we talked about before? Of course, they wouldn't let it go easily. Legend says that Bernini actually carved the Rio della Plata, raising his arm in horror at Borromini's church, Sant'Agnese in Agone, just across the piazza, while the Nile hides his face to avoid seeing it. Is it true? Who knows? From this grand theatre, we head somewhere quieter, a little sunken boat at the Spanish Steps. 15 minutes walk from Piazza Navona and we're at Piazza di Spagna, with its famous staircase. At the bottom of the stairs, you'll find a little sinking boat called La Barcaccia, literally meaning the old boat. The story goes back to the 1500s, when the flood of the Tiber left a stranded boat here. In the 1620s, Pope Urban VIII Barberini asked Pietro Bernini to turn that memory into a fountain with the help of his son Gian Lorenzo Bernini. The result is a vessel half sinking, low to the ground, where water spills gently over its rim. Looking at the bow of the boat, you'll see Barberini bees carved into the stone. These weren't mythological, they were the family's crest. Urban VIII filled Rome with these bees, from palaces to churches, branding the city with his own dynasty. La Barcaccia isn't the largest nor the flashiest, but perhaps the most human. For centuries, Romans came here to fill their bottles, since the Aqua Virgo still flows beneath, fresh and pure. In fact, you can still drink from the fountain today. Last but not least, we walk from Piazza di Spagna until we arrive at a busy crossroads. At a busy intersection stands one of the cleverest projects of the late 1500s, the Quattro Fontane, commissioned by Pope Sixtus V, the same pope who reshaped Rome's skyline by moving ancient obelisks into new positions. These 4 fountains are designed by Domenico Fontana. At first glance, they seem modest, just corner fountains tucked against buildings. But together, they form a symbolic compass of Rome's power and values. The river Tiber is the lifeblood of Rome, personified with an urn. The river Arno, personification of Florence, links 2 great Italian cities. Diana is the Roman goddess of the moon and hunting, symbolizing nature and purity. Juno is the queen of the gods, representing fertility and protection. 2 allegories, 2 goddesses, and together they form a symbolic compass, a reminder that Rome wasn't just a city, but the center of political and spiritual life. What makes it special is how the figures lean outward, almost spilling into the streets, as if conversing with one another and with passers-by. Imagine being a pilgrim in the 16th century, suddenly seeing gods and rivers watching you at an intersection. And now, it's time for the secret architectural illusion I promised at the beginning. When you go there, stand at the northwest corner at the fountain of the river Arno. From there, look along Via delle Quattro Fontane and you'll see 3 of Rome's obelisks in one perfect line. The Quirinal at Piazza del Quirinale, the Esquilin behind Santa Maria Maggiore, and the Celestion at the Spanish Steps. This alignment wasn't an accident. Renaissance planners aligned monuments like actors on a stage, reminding everyone that Rome wasn't just a city. It was urban theatre. So there you have it, the Trevi with its coin-tossing and ancient aqueduct, the rivalry of Piazza Navona, the sunken boat of the Barcaccia, and the symbolic compass of the Quattro Fontane. Now you know fully well how these fountains aren't just for beauty. They're full of history, symbols, and stories you'd never guess at first glance, and most visitors walk past without ever knowing what they're really looking at. If you want to keep exploring with us in real life, don't forget to check out our website for guided tours and experiences in Italy, Spain, and France. You can find the link in the description below. Thank you for watching and staying with us until the end, and hit like if this helped you see Rome differently, and subscribe for more hidden stories. See you soon.